Now, over the past week, there's been a very interesting story between the EFCC and a certain former Minister of Aviation that has caused us to take a critical look at the aviation sector and exactly what is going on there. It's been many years since we had what's called Nigerian Airways, and then there was the supposed Nigeria Air that was supposed to take flight, but that was grounded due to, well, many factors, some of which we will discuss here today. And of course, we are also going to be doing that with an expert in the house. Now, I was talking about the 8 billion naira issue regarding Hadi Sirika brought against him by the EFCC, and also this is based on money laundering investigation. Sirika was brought to the Federal Capital Territory Command of the EFCC at around 1 p.m. on Tuesday, according to sources. And anonymous sources also said that within the anti-graft agency, they confirmed the arrest, stating that yes, that he was taken into the FCT custody, and he is currently meeting with the EFCC investigator over the 8 billion naira aviation ministry contract fraud. Many contracts that he put out. There were cases of nepotism. There were cases of structures that were supposed to have been built that weren't. This is just a small, what you call it?
Tip of the iceberg?
Tip of the iceberg when it comes to the case. There's many more, actually. Now today, our question is, when exactly will the aviation industry in Nigeria take flight?
Yes, indeed. We're joined, and to do that, we're being joined by our analyst today to answer these questions and more is Professor Anthony Kila, who has over years, and this time 25 years of practice in the aviation industry. He was a managing director, auxiliary at UK Aviator Company, pioneer chairman, Sabre Nigeria Travel Network. He has delivered keynote speeches at aviation forums across the world, and he is a key member of the Aviation Hall of Fame. And he joins us here now to discuss so much
Well,
more.
Mr. Kila, good to have you on.
Good to have you.
Good to be here.
Now, I want to take it from the perspective of someone who is perhaps maybe on the streets, who maybe hasn't been in a plane before and has aspirations of actually being in one. And it doesn't know exactly why Nigeria doesn't have its own national carrier. Has heard of the Nigerian Airways from the past, but nothing else. What exactly is happening to our dreams of a national carrier in Nigeria?
Well, I mean, you call it dream. It's some people's desire. I think let's start from the basic, especially since you've chosen somebody who's far away from aviation. There are 5 major components in aviation. At the very basic level, aviation is about transportation, moving from one place to the other. In the case of flying, you're moving at a higher height and faster, but it's still just movement. You make it a bit more complex, or you widen the space when you had safety to aviation. You widen the circle a bit more when you add economy to aviation. And then you widen it a bit more when you add consumer rights or citizens' rights. Then you add it further when you add politics. So those are the 5 main components. In terms of the Nigerian airline, it's an old dream. There was a time when it was said that for a country to be a country, you need a flag, a land, and an airline. That's not really true anymore. That idea of government managing airlines is an old dream. These days, besides the fact that most airlines that were established by government have been privatized in one form or the other, it's more of a private sector business now. What you can have is perhaps to make sure that an airline that comes from your country is operating and it becomes the flag bearer. So the idea of government being inside it, well, it's no more a dream. It has turned to a nightmare.
We've seen the extent of that with all the activities between the former aviation minister and the EFCC currently. But we'll talk about that after.
Yes.
I'm sure you did
Yeah. I mean, for me, when you look at the aviation sector in and of itself, especially during Hadi Sirika's tenure, there was a lot of things that have bedeviled them, starting with the price of jet fuel, which hiked up, and then we saw the prices of tickets, flight tickets also going up as well. We saw IATA's issue with the Nigerian aviation sector when it came to repatriation of funds, and so far so good. With a new appointment of the minister, aviation minister now being Festus Keyamo, what are some changes that you hope to see with the sector?
Well, I hope to say comprehensive understanding of what the aviation industry is. Really go back to those basic points, that basic components of aviation that I have listed before now. I think that for the aviation, and I go beyond individuals or individual role, it's a system. For the systems to work effectively and efficiently, we need to understand that aviation is a gateway to our country. You know, that's one of the first things that people see about your country, how you're judged, your airports and the flights that come in and come out, how accessible you are. So we have to see a very sensitive position. We also have to see that it's a very regulated industry, a regulation that goes beyond local or individual circumstances, because the two main bodies, IATA and ICAO or ICAO, the international bodies, anything that happens, you know, any airline in the world, no matter how remote, is linked to those rules. So we have to have that world view, that whatever we do in our country is something that will reverberate across the world immediately. So if you want it to work, you have to think that way. You also have to think, in my view, that the role of government in aviation is to make people move, because I said movement, and safely. That's the key thing. To make people move means that the flight have to be available and accessible in price. There is a wrong idea in Nigeria thinking that aviation is a luxury or something for the elite. If you look at the structure and size of Nigeria, you see that more people should be flying. So to make that happen, you need a philosophy, you need an aviation manager, minister of anything, or agency leader, regulators, that understands that you need to find every time a balance between making it safe and making it available and accessible.
Is Festus Keyamo capable?
Well, you can't really brush on a thing. He has done some things which I have praised. The last thing he has done, I think, is very unimpressive. As a matter of fact, to be quite brutal, I think unfortunate. The suspension of Dana Head, you know, that's been his last move.
Why do you say it was unimpressive?
Well, because you see, so something happens and what you go and do is you suspend the operations of the airline. That is wrong. Everybody agrees that safety is paramount, including the operators, including the airlines. If you think about it, you know, when the airlines fly, their pilots fly. No pilot would know that this thing is likely to crash and I'm going to fly it. You know, their life is at stake as well. But you need a broader view, you need a holistic view to know that, yes, I am for safety, but I'm also for making flights available. Making flights available means allowing people to fly. You also allow business to continue going.
But then again, that decision was taken from a very informed safety view. I mean, he was concerned, well, the general argument is about the state of the planes for Dana Air, the age where they're gotten from, how long they've been in service. So, I mean...
Maintenance was also one of the questions
if that is a safety issue, why is suspension not impressive?
No, it's not impressive because let's be very careful. Aviation is it's not a common sense business. It's a very technical business. Airlines will be operative because they were clear to operate. You know, they have scheduled auditing of their ability to operate. The fact that they are there, that means they're fit to be there. And if for any reason, if somebody thinks they shouldn't be there, then that thing should be petitioned, not before something happens to them. Number two is this. What happened to Dana here, specifically in this case, the fact that, you know, they had to have an emergency stop. In the past, well, September to now, it's less than a year. September to, we're in April. So what is that? That's about 7 to 9 months. Yeah. In 7 to 9 months, we've had 5 other airlines have similar issues. So I don't do UTISM, but in terms of number, you see that that's happened to other people. You know, why this heavy blown down here? There's something not good about that. It's not consistent. It doesn't show clarity. The other point is this. If we have an accident, which we didn't have, but let's say something bad was about to happen, what you do to ensure safety is vigilance. You say to them, let's see. Well, the first step is investigation. You investigate thoroughly what is going on here. Whilst the investigation is going on, instead of suspending them, I would, and I have proposed, that what you do is that you subject them to more rigorous check before they can fly. You can say, unlike other people, because you've had this incident, before any of your flight takes off, we're going to check that specific flight. Maybe you pay the cost, maybe it's going to cost you time. Why do we do that? Not because of love of Dana here, but because when you suspend the flight, when you suspend an airline from operating, you're disrupting the life and plans of many people who did not know you were going to suspend them a day before.
Yeah, but it's for their own safety, isn't it?
Well, it's for their own safety, but you see, this idea that you go to the dentist and say for your own safety you must feel the pain is archaic. It's not rational. In the new world, you anesthetize. You don't feel the pain. Nobody cries for going to the dentist anymore. If your dentist is still making you cry, change him or her. In the new world, you see, there's something very instinct very old about our society. The idea that you must be tough, you have to suffer, is not true. The new world, the modern world, the way we're building the world, and that's why we're not good inventors, is to make things easier. That is why water will flow in your room instead of wake up in the morning and go and get a bucket of water. So you have to make sure, you have to deliberately reduce the pain for people. Because you see, when you act commonsensically, for safety, let me stop the line. What you're not looking at is the broader picture. By stopping one airline, you are reducing the amount of supply of flights. That will cross a high in price. That will disrupt people's lives because they've bought their ticket. Now they're going to ask for a refund, look for another ticket. It's just unnecessary chaos.
So the business administration part of it and the commerce part of it is the issue here. But let's also look at the part or the arm of the aviation sector that is in charge of maintenance of these planes. We saw an incident where a door opened mid-flight, you know, and there was also another account on social media. Now, I cannot confirm